set the stage is also angels come in a little earlier. Typical, like an even high-end, typical Indian angel would go up to $1 million, not more than that. But a fund can go obviously 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever that. So that's the difference. Now, what is the difference between a venture business and sort of the business that this gentleman or second gentleman is running? What do you think is the difference? That's part of it. What else? There's a fundamental difference between a venture business and a business which is profitable, very good business.
But it is not, basically it cannot go at that scale.
Scalability.
Like my interior business is very much customized.
Correct.
So I can earn good.
Yes.
But I cannot scale it. Even to take it to a next city is a big task.
Correct.
For me.
And there's nothing at all wrong with a lifestyle business, right?
My
You're happy.
family has always been doing that.
Yeah, and you're making good margins. There's no control issue. There's nobody sitting on your
Basically,
head.
the thing is, my dad is an architect, my mom is an engineer, I'm an engineer, mechanical engineer. I handle the manufacturing, they handle the design, everything is in-house.
But yeah,
सारा profit भी अंदर
sir,
है.
आपको तो angel investing करनी चाहिए. But jokes apart. So, but it's very important to understand this because a lifestyle business. So the fundamental difference is one is scale, and the difference is in a venture business, to take money, you give up some stake, right, in your business. So that's the biggest sort of thing. But when you give up your stake, it also comes with a lot of riders. So there are pros and cons. The riders are obviously when you give up your stake, it's not that you give up full control, but there is somebody who comes on the board. Like if you, and who will be part of the earlier panel, Padmaja, like I and even an angel group has one board representation, right? There's a lot of rigor around matrices, around reporting, around compliances, around standardizations. So it comes with some sort of, baggage, etc. The pro is that if you're building a venture business for scale, and if you've got the right angel investor, the right VC, they can actually make or break your venture. It's like a marriage, right? Because if you've got the right angel investor, it's not that they just bring with, money, but they also bring money plus in some sense, right? And then money plus is in terms of networks, in terms of access to markets, in terms of domain expertise. He's building something in blockchain. Maybe there's a guy who's done lots of things in financial or built a big financial business who can add value in terms of connecting to banks or insurance companies. So that is the value add that venture investors bring to the table. Yeah. But the normal life cycle of funding is first, fools, family, friends, your own money. Second question I have for you guys. So if you are sort of not full-time in your venture, do you think you can raise funds?
No.
Why?
Yes, if your idea is that and scalable and you want to move on after some time. Yes.
But I have
If
an
you're not able
option
to put your
see-
skin in the game, then why will investors put
Yes.
responsibility?
So if you don't have skin in your game, you think about it. You go to even your mom and say, "Yeah, I'm part-time में कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन आप थोड़ा दे दो," or your cousin brother. It won't work, right? You have to have skin in the game, right? Before you go to it. So first is fools, family, friends. Next is what we call angels, which could be individual angels or through an angel group like IN, or even now a lot of early stage seed funds have come into the picture. A lot of accelerators like GSF, which is run by Rajesh Swani. He selects 5 startups only out of 300 applications, but he invests about $50,000 and he runs you through an accelerator program. So there are options like that. And then you start getting into the VCs and then to the Ps, etc. Right? So that's sort of the funding lifestyle. My session is not really about, it's just about sort of my learnings and lessons. And I borrowed a lot from, as you can see, from Guy Kawasaki. Anybody heard of Guy Kawasaki? Yeah, started great. So you know the step rate. That's my take, much easier. So I have pitched myself and I've sat on countless pitches. And it's been very funny because even including an IM, after the pitch, because you go from pitch to pitch, right? The 6, like what's happening here, right? There'll be 6 startups pitching or 7 startups and you go through it. And immediately when the entrepreneur moves out of the room, the investors look at each other, yaar, wo karta kya tha? Because the focus has been so much about this marketplace, this will happen, that will happen, and we forget the fundamentals. Okay, boss, what are you actually doing? What's the problem and so on, right? So one can have a very complex business plan template, but I challenge you, if you do this first, the reverse way, it's better. To write a business plan, you can write 30 slides, right? ये market analysis, ये Gartner report, ये डाल दिया, वो $1 billion opportunity, blockchain, ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है, ये exits हो रहे हैं, yes. Try to do it in 10 slides, that's where the challenge is. Like these guys, no offense, but you know, you guys went on a long pitch.
Yeah.
You could complete it in like 1 second. Right, 1 second went down. So that's the idea. Because if you can't communicate your message and have the message retained by your investors or your audience, then it's sort of dilutes, right? The other test that we always say, or sort of a litmus test is, before you pitch to an investor, pitch to somebody in your family or friend who is not related to your business. If they get it, then your investor will get it. Problem is, we put also investors as demigods. They're not. They're people like you and me. They're just managing money or happen to have made some money. That's the reality. Right? I'll come to pitch to him one day. But he's a human being, yeah? He's like you and me. He's not a demigod. हम थोड़ा सा करते हैं. Even when we were pitching first, I remember in 2008 for my first startup, first angel investor meeting, first VC, you know, getting nervous, what will he think? Hey, yeah, get the concept right. He'll get it. Of course, investors are smart people because they've seen a lot of pitches. But remember, about his domain, about air purifying plants, I don't know what he's talking about.
Yes.
The investor will also not know. You are the domain expert. So your confidence should come from there. Right? So let's get into this. I know we are very late on the session, so I'll take not too much time. What Guy Kawasaki says was, what did he say? He said 20 minutes. 10 slides. No, I want to say the font size. He said 30 size font size.
30, 20.
Yeah, 30, 20, 10. 30 size font size. Can you imagine getting your business plan in just 10 slides, 30 size font in 20 minutes? It's tough, but it's doable. So the first slide is very simple. It's your title. Obviously you have a title for the company, etc. And this is where you explain what you really do. You know, cut the chase. So if he's doing air purifying, it would be something around, okay, you know, a revolutionary air purifying technology using a patented technology, or something like that. And ये भी बहुत fancy ज्ञान word हो गया, quite frankly. But it can be even simplified. So first two lines are really late. Now comes the important point. A lot of the times the problem is in defining the problem, right? So what happens is, as typically in pitches, we get into solutions. We don't explain the problem. What really is the problem you're trying to, you know, get addressed? And if you don't get that problem related to the context of the person, he will never appreciate the solutions. Right? अगर आप कुछ बहुत, जैसे ये इनके problem है, let's say pollution का, ठीक है? अब pollution की problem तो पता है, right? So it's much easier to explain. Blockchain, slightly more complex. How will you explain blockchain as a problem?
Build track for documents.
Yeah, but no, but what is the problem you're trying to address?
Files.
What's the problem trying to address?
Problem we are trying
And
to
for who?
Yeah. The problem is the way we acquire, save, and share the documents. And
Where?
the
Online,
blockchain will-
offline?
Huh?
Online, offline?
Offline. Offline. We do it in the form of papers. We acquire papers as a certificates. We save it in the files and we share it by photocopying it. The solution is blockchain. We do it digitally and maintain the complete.
No, but
record.
again, the problem. So what's the problem? Is it convenience? Is it more expensive?
The problem is the methodology. The sharing it over the papers is not safe. It's prone to misuse. We never count how many times we have used those documents, the vital documents we have. We don't maintain any record that whom we are sharing it. We lodge in a hotel, we give the Aadhaar card. They take a copy and it's gone. The trust is coming from the air. So there's the logic that we share the paper document.
How
which
can
is
you make the
unsafe.
problem even more impactful? So, for example, you said Aadhaar card is a good example. So if you say a stat, do you know that this can be misused by this and information leaked out? Is that a larger problem for your customer?
Yes, it is.
Right? So I'm just rewording what you said.
Yeah.
I'm just giving a very small example on the fly. right? You said some sort of liners around
Yeah.
document sharing secure. You all have to say, boss, do you know when you check in at a hotel and you give your Aadhaar card copy, and that can be misused, you know what can happen? You define the problem. The investor will set up and say, oh. Versus getting into this, we secure, we do this, and pata nahi kya kya. Baat mein aayega. No
Right.
sense. I'm just saying, make it impactful. The guy should get up and say, oh, that's a problem I can relate to. That's an issue that I have to deal with. That relates to me, because it can happen to me. I'm not saying every problem that we do can relate to somebody, but you have to make it as realistic and addressable. The second thing, who's your addressable customer? Right, so is it all of us? Is it only tourist travelers? Is it office goers? I don't know who your audience is.
Vijay, sometimes what happens is that when you start up, you just don't start with one problem. So you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
What happens eventually you end up solving a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But you started with one problem. You're building a platform, so you're doing a lot of things, but you started something. So problem definition at that point of time, you kind of get lured into defining a lot of problems. Is that a good idea?
No.
Or just
I think
start
see the-
from one?
And I'll look at more Amazon example also. I think sort of, that does not mean it's Amazon. I think the sort of success for us as Amazon is because the key of looking at a problem is looking at very deep customer insights.
Yes.
And that's Amazon's philosophy also. So we have something called a working backwards document. Any product that Amazon releases, any product across Amazon, AWS, anywhere, the team is supposed to build a working backwards document. We actually first write a press release. But how will the product look 5 months when it's launched? Right? What is, and not only that, we also write the FAQ on it. So, and we put the customer there. So how will the customer read? Or how, when the product lands the customer, how will it feel, how will it look like, what are the issues? So you can always pivot. And as startups, you have to pivot. Because sometimes you're solving a problem and you might find a related problem is far bigger. That's why you do a pivot. But when you're communicating to an investor, if you say, okay, I'm going to do 5-6 problems one time, he'll say, yeah, you're trying to do things. If it's related and if it's saying, okay, fine, and you can even say very safely in the roadmap that fine, right now I'm addressing, let's say if I'm opening a restaurant in Delhi NCR or in the Saket region, fine, I'm opening a restaurant. So lifestyle is a bad example, but anyway. But tomorrow you can say, yes, if it works, the model works, I've got, base kitchens and fly-by-night kitchens or whatever, then I can scale it up. That's interesting. But whatever problem you say, it has to be based on deep customer insights. It has to come out very strong.
Yeah, we are trying to solve a problem for the students, like final year students or the fresher students who are going to apply for the jobs and the higher studies. These are the guys who have to present their resumes, academic certificates and the mark sheets. And the pain point is that we read so many news in the paper that they have lost their documents in the bus or they got snatched. So these they have to get into in the duplication certification process. So we want to target that this student is the important section as of now. We take the entry from there. We take their documents on the blockchain and help them these documents reach their employer so that they can verify these documents on the blockchain humorously.
And then you can expand it to other students or job aspirants or whatever. I mean, it's definitely better than what you said first.
Just to support my question, Paytm was pitching. So what is the problem with this?
Yeah, but remember Paytm in the first pitch was very different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But today, of course, now it's a conglomerate.
Yeah.
So, and again, Vijay will pitch to different audiences, different businesses. Of course, if he's switching to Jack Ma or whatever, then of course he's going to pitch the whole conglomerate. And I think his pitch is going to be more around financial inclusion. Where he's saying Bharat is a market, and these are the various products, and this is how we're going to tie it together. So eventually his problem statement is going to be financial inclusion. I don't know, I'm not
Yeah.
Paytm, but.
Yeah, this is the insight they
Can
have.
I ask him a question?
Ask him a question. उसके बाद पूछना मेरे को करने तो पहले मेरे को ट्रेन पकड़नी है. Okay, so I mean, in the first approach, avoid looking like this. You have to define the problem. have to get the context right. Your audience should understand very clearly what is the problem trying to solve for whom. I know it sounds very, my entire presentation is very common sense. आप कहोगे अरे यार मुझे कुछ बड़ा इंसाइट मिल गया, कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला. मैं कॉमन सेंस की बातें करता हूँ, प्रैक्टिकल एडवाइस. लेकिन these are common mistakes and 100 mistakes that people keep making. That's what I want to talk about. Now, and I connect the two and with a good example. So, obviously solution, this is not a time where you make an in-depth presentation. कि मेरा पेटेंट ऐसे चलने वाला है, ये होने वाला है, भैया आपका टाइम नहीं है. प्रॉब्लम आपने डिफाइन कर दी, आपको दिखाना है सोल्यूशन में ये करने वाले हैं और ये डिफरेंशियल है. वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन एक और स्लाइड है, बट वील कम टू दैट. नाउ आई गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. So I started, I was part of the team which started something called Tie the Knot. You heard of Tie the Knot? It was India's first Shark Tank. जब पिचिंग चल रही ना, सर हमारा कॉपी है. ये मैंने 2011 में स्टार्ट करा with Deep Carlo Make My Trip. So what we said if somebody's watched Shark Tank in the US, we thought we'd bring the concept in India. How it's worked, not worked, we had some mixed success. And so there was a startup who had a medical device whereby it was I think a wristband which could monitor your heartbeats, okay, and give you some alerts, like IoT based, etc. So I don't pitch it as well as he does, but this is how he pitched it. He said, imagine driving from Delhi to Jaipur on a highway at 100 kilometers an hour, and suddenly when you're driving, you find there's some pain in your left shoulder. Okay. Now there's a signboard which says 0.5 kilometer hospital and 50 kilometers Jaipur. What will you do? What if you had this device and it could give you the heart rate reading right there and there and you could take the call? He pitched it much better. But in 20 seconds, I told you the problem and the solution. And you guys could, everybody here I think could relate to it.
Yeah.
Yes, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't even pitch it as well. He did much better. Right? So now the other way to pitch it would be, अरे ये medical device है और इसमें ये heart beat vibrations आती हैं और ये होता है वो होता है और मैंने ये patent. In 30 seconds he got the problem solution done. Of course, detailed technical thing, value proposition, all that can flow. He's got the investor's attention. No investor walked away from that. He got funded, by the way. He got some comments there. No investor would walk away and say, यार मुझे समझ नहीं आया वो क्या करता है या मुझे apply करता है कि नहीं. Because the example of something that relates to everybody, you can also do some market sizing around it on your own. Because it is a mass consumer product in some sense. And it is cheap, etc. So my point is, if you really do your reverse pitch, if you really think about it, who you're pitching to, who the audience is, you can come out with a very effective pitch, and I can challenge it in under 30 seconds. You can give the problem solution to anybody without making it too complex.
I have a simple way of telling
Yeah.
this.
Go ahead, practice.
No, to live,
Take water.
the human need three things, that is food, water and air. Without food, you could live for few weeks. Without water, few days. And without air, few minutes. I am in the business of selling air.
Selling air.
Clean air.
Clean air.
Clean air.
Okay. Any other feedback for him? Anything that he can improve upon?
Yeah.
Thanks for volunteering. But
There
yeah.
are some statistics how so many children get infected due to